Hello, hello. I've got all my videos done. I took a shower. I did my hair. I did a booktube video, a video for my so-called healthy life. Oh, I still have coffee left. And on my main channel, I did my Why Charles Gross and I Aren't Friends Anymore video. So, now that's done. And I'm getting ready to go and run errands. Yeah, and I'm super excited about that. I actually am. I've been in this house all day long. It's 5 o'clock, and I still haven't left the house yet because I was just doing these videos and all that kind of stuff. So I'm super excited about that. Super, super excited. Oh my God, you're so excited. Where's my new chapstick? I really like this chapstick this Baby Lip Sunscreen by Maybelline that Teresa got me. How are you guys doing today? Are you having fun? It was so interesting because you guys know, look what I got in the mail today. I'm going to do a review video about it. Jord sent me their watch. I was so excited. I can't show it yet. But it comes in this really cool box and everything. But somebody said in my, it was funny because somebody said, as a comment in one of my videos, they're like, oh, another YouTuber did this and got 3 watches. So, yes, that was in the email that they reached out to me. They said they would send me 3 watches, and I didn't need 3 watches. I don't need 3 watches. I have enough watches. And so, yeah, so I just, maybe I should have got 2 more and given them away. I don't know. I don't even know if I could have done that, but I didn't need 3 watches, so that's why I didn't do that. It's interesting, like, a lot of, like, people will reach out to you, and they'll send you, like, they want to send you, like, mass amounts of stuff or this or that. And I'm just like, I don't need that, you know? Like, I don't need things, you know? I just don't need a lot. And, back in the day, I probably would have just accepted all of it. And today, I try not to, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I try to say no if I don't need anything. I had quite a few people. So anyway, yeah, I think that's it. Go run my errands and post my videos. I need to set up an eye appointment. That's what I need to do. Oh, and I'm much better. You know, it's so interesting last night because I had that totally, like, broke down, cried, and all that kind of stuff. Pee-Pee is right here. He's so cute. But I had that total, like, breakdown, and I bawled my eyes out about my mom and stuff. And you know what? Like, it was so healthy for me. Like, I haven't really broken down like that and cried about my mom in a while. And I think I just needed to, you know? Like, I think I just needed to let it out. And, because, like, I think maybe I haven't, like, really acknowledged the fact that, I mean, I know she's gone, you know? But, like, it's weird. It's hardest in the good things. Because I can't call her and be like, oh, this happened or that happened. Those are, like, the hardest moments. So, but I woke up this morning and I felt so peaceful. And I read my meditations outside. It's, like, literally, like, 80 in Indianapolis today. And it's, like, gorgeous outside. And I'm doing a readathon. If you would like to join me on my booktube channel that I made up, this catch-up readathon that I'm doing to just catch up on all my books that I'm behind on. So, you guys want to know what books I'm behind on? I'll show you. But I'm going to finish this week. The Mistletoe Secret by Richard Paul Evans. The Great American Whatever by Tim Federal. These are my books I have to finish right here. Michael Crichton, Rising Sun. I just finished that. So I don't have to finish that anymore. Did somebody just text me? Perks of Being a Wallflower. Helter Skelter. I just want to get into this, like, deep. I don't think I'll finish it. And then Summer Days and Summer Nights, edited by Stephanie Perkins. I'm literally halfway through that book, so that'll be easy. Tilt by Ellen Hopkins. I'm about a third of the way through. But her pages, if you've never read an Ellen Hopkins book before, look like that. It writes like prose, but it reads like a book. Fantastic. And then I have... Oh, shoot. Is it Tricks? It's about the prostitutes in Las Vegas. The teen prostitutes. Traffic. Is it Traffic? Yeah, Traffic. I have on my Kindle to read. And The Inexplicable Logic of My Life. So that's kind of how you do a readathon, is like you just read all these books, right? And typically there's challenges and stuff. Maybe off. But I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that this, what am I trying to say? I'm not doing that this time. I'm not doing any challenges. I'm just catching up on my books, if that makes sense. So, all right, I'm going to go run out some air, get some air inside. I'll talk to you in a little bit. I came to Tanya's kennel to pick her up. She just got done mowing. And we're going to go get Weed Killer. She wants to get a fountain coat, but I just got one. But I wanted to show you, like, I love to come out here because it's so peaceful. You see how peaceful it is? It's so pretty, isn't it? And, like, there's, like, always, like, deer out here when we come out here. So let's take the footsteps of our lives. But anyway. Oh, such a pretty day outside. Oh, I was gonna blow a dandelion, but it had a bee on it. Not like that. People always wonder what kind of car I drive. Well, now you know. Even though I've said it in here a million times. It is such a gorgeous day. It's like 80. I cannot wait to just like read outside tonight. Do you hear that silence? I talked about that in my so-called healthy life video today. I talked about, it's the one that says called Shut Up. I talked about just like being peaceful and just listening to the sounds. I kind of love just being silent, you know? She was putting up her dog, Junebug. I'm like, come on. Are we going to the Weed Killer store? What's the Weed Killer store, do you think? I could totally take a nap out here if I had a hammock. I think she has a hammock somewhere. She used to have one behind her house. Tanya actually used to live here when I first met her. Did she live here when I first met her? No, she had just moved out. And her son was 4, because he's 24 now, and I've known her for 20 years. And it was so funny, because he used to get let off from the school bus down there, like when he was like 6 and 7 and all through elementary school. She's got to see my car out here. What is she doing? Let's make a wish. That was a good wish. Do you guys know what it was? Did you ever play that game when you were a kid? Like, if you had 3 wishes, what would they be? And they couldn't be like more wishes. Did you ever play that? I loved that wish. I'd be like, I'd have all the money in the world, and then I'd have even more money in the world. Why do we always want all the money in the world? What would you even do if you had all the money in the world? And I'd be a movie star. My wishes were so like that. God, I miss just like being a kid and just like sitting in the grass and having like talks. When I see like kids just like sitting and talking, do you ever wonder like what they're talking about? It was so funny because I was reading through some of my mom's journals recently, and when I was a baby, my parents lived in Evanston, which is where Northwestern is, and my mom was had worked at Northwestern Library, and it was while my dad was doing his medical school residency, and she like wrote down, she was on the beach and with me, and I was like 6 months or something, and she's talking about like how these kids were having this conversation that was so adult, and she's like, these kids are having this adult conversation. It cracks me up, and she like wrote their whole conversation down. And hey, Tanya Jean!
Hi.
Here she comes. So She's tired, probably doesn't want to be on camera, so I'll talk to you guys in just a little bit. Hello. God, what a crazy evening it's been tonight. I didn't even leave the house until like 5 because I was making all these videos, and then I went and got Tanya. We went to Home Depot. I think I already talked about all this. Did I? I don't even know what I vlogged today, honestly. It's just been a crazy day. And then I read outside because I'm doing my readathon thing. And then I watched LA Hair while I ate dinner. I'm hungry though again. Isn't that crazy? How do I get so hungry? And then I did a YouNow stream outside because it was so nice. I like set up my little table outside and did my YouNow stream, which was really fun tonight. I went on and then I went off to go watch a video because I had posted my video about Charles Gross, and then I was in my YouNow stream and somebody said he posted a response. So I went and watched it, and then I came back in. And, so that's what it is. But something really powerful happened today, and I wanted to talk about this. So you know that I talk a lot on here about these younger kids that I become friends with through BookTube and like other things like Camden Kilby I've talked about, and you know, Graham at Mega Man Chief Fan, and Dylan the reader, and Philippe, the YA reader, who was really like, for me, the first younger guy that I made friends with on BookTube. He's 18, and he lives in Portugal. And one of the sweetest people I've ever met, actually, you know. And I had talked about him in a video the other night, and you know, I like, this is where I forget like what I say has an impact on anybody. And I think that to be just a nicer person, to say nice things, or to, you know, I think like, let's just go back to the golden rule and treat people the way that we want to be treated. Is that so difficult in life, really? I mean, is it really so hard to treat people the way that we want to be treated? Sometimes it is, you know, sometimes I just want to be a total bitch, but, you know, honestly, like, I don't feel good about that, and being in a 12-step program, I have to go back and correct that behavior anyway, so it's just easier for me to, like, sit in the moment and think things through and be like, okay, so, but, you know, like, I was talking about these guys on YouTube the other day, and they're just such neat young men, and, he made a video today where he talked about me in it, and I can get real emotional talking about this. I feel so blessed with my coming out experience, you know? There's no training book, there's no, you know, great book that if you do all this stuff, your child will turn out perfect. And I remember in high school when I was like in treatment one time, I had this counselor that was kind of giving my mom a hard time about, I can't remember what it was. It was like setting limits and boundaries. And she looked at this counselor and she said, let me tell you something. And I'm not excusing my mother's drinking, okay, which was paramount, but my mother was an amazing mother, and I'm not excusing that, but she looked at this counselor and she said, let me tell you something. She said, if there was a book out there that said read pages 1 through 100 and your child will turn out perfect, what parent do you think wouldn't read that book? Well, having worked with teenagers for over 15 years, a lot of them, I met a lot of parents that were shitty parents. And not shitty because they were addicts or alcoholics. I mean, that's when they're on their own sickness or whatever, you know. Parents that just didn't shouldn't have had the right to have children. You know, they just didn't care. And I dealt with a lot of throwaway kids, and throwaway kids is actually a term that we use in the United States for kids that really have nowhere to live because their parents just don't even want them anymore. I'll never forget this one time I was working with a kid in foster care, or that had been in foster care, and we were trying to do like reunification, and he was in treatment at the time, long term, and he didn't want to go home. He was like scared to get released from treatment, but he had been there for so long. And I said, well, your mom's going to start coming to family sessions. And he was like, okay, but I'm telling you, she's just not going to follow through with this. Like, she's just not. Look at my hair. And it was such a sweet kid, just such a sweet kid. And I said, no, we'll work on your mom. We'll get your mom, you know, where she needs to be and whatever. And he said, my mom doesn't care. You don't understand. And, you know, I think that perspective is interesting. And I think because I came from parents that always did care, that it was like easy for me to not imagine that there are parents out there that really didn't care or didn't have the capacity. And, so I remember when she came up, and she was, you know, nice, and I'm sure had her own demons. I try to understand where people are coming from and not judge them, you know, but like Atticus Finch says, it's, you know, stand in somebody else's shoes and walk around on their front porch for a while. But, we were like in family group, and she didn't say a word. I remember she didn't say anything in family group, and we like taught, like family group was where like all the kids would come in with their parents, and she said, you know, like introduced who she was, and I said that, you know, we were going to start working on this to do reunification and get him back home. And then like immediately following family group, we would go into visitation. And so when she was leaving, she said, can I talk to you for a minute outside? You guys always like, this is like where I get, it's like the diary room of reality shows. Like I get on the vlog and I get real emotional. Why is that? And so she said, can I pull it? She pulled me aside. She said, can I talk to you for a couple minutes? And I said, yeah. And so she said, but up front, like away from everybody. And I said, okay. So we walked up front. She kept on walking outside. And so I walked outside and I followed her. We were standing out there, and she like lit a cigarette, and she's like, I can't do this. And I said, what do you mean you can't do this? You can't do family group? What do you mean? She goes, I can't do this. I said, you cannot do this to this child. And she started crying, and she said, I can't do this. She said, tell him I can't do this. And she turned and she walked away. I'm still friends with this kid on Facebook. Like, he friended me like when he got older, and God, I think he's probably 30 now or something. He's an amazing young man today, you know. And I see his pictures, and just a neat young man. And neat young man. He's like my husband's age. And but I remember going back in there and looking at him, and I said, he goes, did my mom leave? And I said, yeah. And he goes, I knew she would. He said, I knew she couldn't do this. And he was used to it. That's what's sad about it, you know? Like, he was more mature about it than I think maybe even I was. Like, I don't know. Like, I have these weird expectations for, you know, all that. But maybe he ended up where he was supposed to be, because, like, he stayed with us for a very long time in residential treatment. And then he, I think he ended up going to live with foster parents that came to family group for a while, I think, if I remember that correctly. But, or grandparents, maybe they were an older couple. But anyway, so Philippe at the YA Reader reached out to me today, and he said, I made a video and I talk about you in it. And I said, okay. So I went and I watched the video, and I thought he was just going to say something. He read my book and he loved my book. And so I thought he was going to mention my book, because recently Philippe has come out as bisexual, and he did a video where he talked about being bisexual a couple months, like a month or 2 months ago. And I mean, he's 18. That's a big deal, you know, to make a YouTube video and come out. And there's like a lot of people on YouTube and BookTube that do that. I can't imagine at that age, you know. So I watched this video, and it was called bisexual phobia and bisexual books, so I think. And I thought, well, my book doesn't have any bisexual clients. My book doesn't have any bisexual characters in it, so this will be, how does he work me into this? So Philippe starts his video, and you know, he speaks Portuguese, but like, because he lives in Portugal, but he speaks English in a lot of his videos. And so I'm watching this video, and he's talking about how he hasn't made video for a month. God love the kids, you know? Because he's so self-conscious of his acne. And then he started new acne medicine, and he thought that it was starting to clear up. I'm sorry, Philippe, if you're watching this. I asked him if I could post his video, and he thanked me for it. He said, please do. But I don't think he knew I was going to talk about this in a vlog. So I apologize for you having to see me get emotional, but it's not really my story to tell, but I'm going to link his video below. I would love for you guys to go watch it and share it. I think it's one of the most important videos on sexuality that I've ever seen. And I would love for you guys to go subscribe to him because he's such a neat young man. And he shared in the video that he hadn't talked to his dad in a month. He lives at home with his parents, and God, I hate coming on here and crying every night. And he shared that he hadn't talked to his dad in a month. This is a booktuber, you guys. He's 18. He's not telling stories about getting drunk at, you know, a party or all the drugs he's doing. He's not talking about hooking up with people in his videos. He's a booktuber. He reviews young adult books. He's a neat kid. And he said that his dad came into his room the night before, and that his dad told him that there are consequences for your choices in life. And that as a result, because they're really struggling with him being bisexual, they don't understand it. That as a result of him being bisexual, that they're no longer going to pay for university for him. And that he was excited. He really wanted to go to university, you know? And, he doesn't say it in the video, but he insinuates that he was kind of just ready to give it all up. That's all I'll say. I don't want to put words into his mouth. Excuse me. And then he watched my video, my vlog, because I had tagged him on it on Twitter. I tagged all those guys. And on my Peter Likes Books Twitter, on my BookTube Twitter. And that he watched my video where I was talking about him. And that I said, you know, what a neat young man he is. What a beautiful soul he has. And he said he watched that, and it, like, made him realize that he can do this, he can do anything, and that he's going to figure out how to pay for university. And I really want to do something to try to help him figure that out. I don't have the financial resources. God, if I did, I would just do it, you know, just pay for it. I wish. But I'm also a believer that we have to go through our own trials because they're teaching us something that we're not aware of at the time, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying that from a choices and consequences point of view. I'm just saying that some of the worst things I ever went through in my life, I looked back on and I realized, wow, that taught me a valuable lesson. So, but still, I would like to do something, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not big into GoFundMe accounts, nothing like that. I'm not sure yet. I'm creatively thinking, but he said he's not going to give up. And he said he's going to continue to make videos. And he shouts at his dog in the video. It's real cute. His dog's barking in the other room, and he shouts at it, "Shut up!" And he even gives some book recommendations at the end of it. But I watched the video and I thought, this is so profound. You know, this is one of the most endearing videos I have ever seen in my life. This is truth. And, I feel so blessed to have had parents that my sexuality meant nothing to them, you know? They didn't think any way about me, one way or the other. And, we should never be ashamed of who we are. And I mentioned it in my YouNow stream, and I tweeted it out, and it was interesting because a couple people went over to him and that I know, like Ola and some other people, and shared their experience and said some things that were very encouraging on there. And I was like, yes, thank you. You know, like, why can't we just be nice to each other? I gotta turn this light off because there's these cops here. Because this person got pulled over. Oh, they're doing the sobriety check on her. Girl, you should not be drinking and driving. I don't like that at all. I'm very against drinking and driving. I mean, today with Ubers and everything, come on now. I just don't think that we should ever be ashamed of who we are, you know? Like, it's interesting when you get into the conversation about sexuality as a choice, and there are so many people out there that believe, really, that you choose to be gay or you choose to be bisexual or whatever, right? And I used to say back in the day, I'd say, like, well, who would choose this, you know, like, seriously? But it's like, I remember asking this kid that I worked with one time. I have, like, okay, two things in my life, in my career, that I have always gotten is a lot of kids, like, as patients when I worked in treatment. I always got the kids that were adopted, and I always got the pregnant teen moms, which is probably why I love Teen Mom. But, I asked this kid that was adopted one time, I said, what's it like to be, and this is such an ignorant question, okay? I'm just admitting that before I see it comes out of my mouth. But I looked at him and I said, what is it like to be adopted? And he goes, in relation to what? And I go, well, you know, like, what's it like to be adopted? And he goes, how would I know anything else? And I thought, Peter, you're an idiot. But, like, it's like that with anything. It's like, you know, when people are like, oh, if you chose whatever. I mean, like, I don't know what it means to be heterosexual. I've never been heterosexual. I've never, like, you know, sure, in third grade, you know, I thought Denise Deitch was cute and I had a crush on her, or Christy Millington or whatever. But, like, you know, it's not like, I can't believe I remember these people's names. But it's not like I, like, you know what I mean? They were like that. But, like, I can tell you, like, in fourth grade, I can remember crushes I had on boys or teachers. And, you know, it's like, and it just went from there, you know? There was always a boy that I had a crush on every year. And I was smart enough to keep my mouth shut. I knew crushes on boys weren't popular. And so I had to push that down, you know, all my life. You know, push that down. Be ashamed. That's not right. That's not who you should be. And, but that's all I knew. I mean, I couldn't fake it. That's all I knew. And, so it's always an interesting conversation to me when people are like, well, if you could choose, I'm like, what are you asking me? Like, by society standards, if I could be heterosexual, I mean, do I think it's an easier life? I think it depends on the heterosexual. I think it depends on the homosexual. I mean, as a gay man, I was bullied horrendously growing up, but after high school, no, my life was pretty easy. Like, I haven't really dealt with a whole lot of that shit since high school. I just really haven't. Like, I was blessed to work with almost exclusively all women in social services that were very accepting of me being gay. So that was never an issue. You know, I went to school for social work, so it's like, that was never an issue in school. You know, it was just like, I've never had people around me. I mean, have there been situations where certain people are uncomfortable or whatever? Sure, but not like the bullying that I received growing up in high school. And even my bullying experiences aren't as bad as some that I've heard. You know, I mean, like, mine's probably on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being horrific and 1 being not at all. Mine's probably a 4 or 5, honest to God. I mean, I've heard some horror stories, you know? And so, I don't know, like, if I would have picked something else. Like, how can you even imagine what that would be like? I wouldn't have met my husband or his family, which I can't imagine, you know, just like not being part of that. Like, I would never have met most of my friends. I wouldn't have the perspective that I have on life. You know, so no, I wouldn't go back and change it if I could. I wouldn't. Now, had you asked me at, you know, 10 and shown me the difficulties that I was going to have, I don't know. I just think it's such a strange question, isn't it? It's like, well, if your mom could have died, if your mom could have lived until she was 80 and never gotten sick, well, sure, like, I would have loved to have had my mom live to be 80, but conditionally how? Like, as sick as this sounds, a lot of things came that were good from my mother's passing. You know, for me personally, it taught me how short life was. It taught me that, you know, what unconditional friendships and unconditional love looks like. It taught me, you know, chase your dreams now because the time is short. It taught me, you know, the need to take care of myself, health-wise, mentally, spiritually. You know, it taught me to, you know, always say what you want to say to people. I learned so much from my mother's passing, you know, that there are lessons in tragedy. You know, it's turning your wounds into wisdom. I don't want to forget that. Like, I don't want to miss out on those things because I don't want that tragedy in my life. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm talking crazy tonight. I for sure am. I for sure am. For sure. F-E-R. But am I making any kind of sense whatsoever? It's like, I mean, would I love my mom to have been here until she was 80? Absolutely. Pushing her around in a wheelchair where she was in an assisted living program for the next 20 years? Probably not. You know, I loved my mother, but that's a lot. And for you guys out there that do that and are caretakers to your elderly parents, it's a lot. I don't know how you do it. You know, I saw my cousin do it for the last year of my aunt's life, and honest to God, like, I didn't talk about this on here because, what is going on here? Because I started my videos on my vlog on January 1st, but it was so hard for me to see my aunt at Christmas because she came to my cousin's house and she didn't want to miss Christmas, you know, but by that point, she, like, could literally walk. She had lung disease, not lung cancer, lung disease. And my aunt smoked, but she quit smoking probably, so she was 73? She was 73. 2 years younger than my dad. My dad's 75. So she was 73. 73 or 74. And she had quit smoking, like, when she was, like, 45. So, I mean, you know, we don't know why she had lung disease. And, but I literally saw her go downhill very quickly over the last year, and I didn't really understand it because I would talk to Caroline on the phone, and Caroline, my cousin, would say, "Here, it's so bad, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel just helpless taking care of her. I felt overwhelmed, you know." And I didn't really get it until that Christmas day, and she was on an oxygen tank by that point. She started running out of oxygen, and she had an extra tank, but it was like a short-term tank. And they were like very worried about, like Caroline's son and my uncle were very worried about getting her home. And she's like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, Kathy, we have like a half an hour of oxygen left. She's like, I don't need it that much, whatever. It took us probably a half an hour to get her from the chair to the car parked in the driveway outside, because she could walk 5 feet and then she had to sit down because she was so, this is not a heavy woman. This is not, I mean, she had lung disease. And I remember getting in the car with Alex that night, and I just was like, I can't watch this. I can't watch my aunt go through this. And my mom was in so much pain, you know, before she went into the coma, so I couldn't see somebody else go through it. God, can everybody just of my life just that's old, just like, I can't deal with it. My dad, thank God, is so healthy. Like, I just lose my shit on these vlogs. What is wrong with me? And tonight I'm like crying 1 second and laughing the next. That's like been how my day is. I totally believe in menopause for men, or not menopause. I totally believe that men cycle, and I think that I'm cycling right now or something, because I've been so emotional the last couple days in my vlogs. But, you know, my dad is 70, he's on the year, so he's 76, he'll be 77 in August. We got married on my dad's birthday. So anyway, and, I mean, he still is in surgery twice a week, you know? Like, doing surgery on people. Practicing. And if you saw him, like, I mean, I go over to his house, and he's, like, in jeans and, like, Sperry's and, like, some t-shirt that says, like, Jamaica on it or something. And he's, like, sitting there, just, like, sitting there with his, like, bifocals like this, watching TV. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, just watching the news, reading this book about, you know, the white elephant in Nigeria or something. And he's just so funny, you know, he looks like he's 60. My dad legit will live to be probably 100 or something, you know? My dad is the youngest of 5. His oldest brother is like 96 and still like exactly like my dad, like just retired like 10 years ago. It's like crazy. Like if I, you know, took really good care of my body, like the genes on my dad's side of the family are like crazy good. And so, you know, it's interesting to me. One of the things I do worry about with my dad, although this doesn't run in the family, nobody has had it, is that like my dad is so alert, so intellectual, so on point, that I'm terrified that he will like get dementia, if that makes sense, you know, and then more, you know, what's it called? Why can't I think of it? Not amnesia, what's Alzheimer's, you know, and then one day he's like there, and the next day he's not. Like, I don't know how you guys deal with that, you know, that have that out there. Like, I see friends of mine go through that, and I go, how do you do that, you know? And they're just like, you do it. Like, what, you know, I think that's the one thing you realize as you get older, is it's like when you imagine, like, I don't know how I'll do this, you learn how to do it when you go through it. You just deal with it. You just do it. Because you don't have any other option, you know? So, and that was what I loved about Philippe's video tonight. It was like, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll make it happen. There was so much hope, you know? So much hope in his video. It was so awesome. His video gave me so much hope that whatever I want to achieve in my life is possible. And the fact that an 18-year-old going through one of the hardest times of his life can touch my heart and give me that kind of hope and inspiration is amazing. So I want to end it on that note, because I really, it would mean a lot to me, you guys, like a lot. And I know I ask you guys to follow and subscribe to people, but it is totally free to subscribe to somebody. It doesn't take anything. Okay, you don't ever have to watch their videos, but please, or just that video at least, please go watch his video. I will link it below, and his channel, and please subscribe to his channel. He's worked so hard to build it. It would really mean a lot to me, and I know that it would mean a lot to him. He's a really neat kid, and I think some words of encouragement and some positivity right now would just be awesome, okay? Because would it take that much for us just to do something really nice for somebody else? And maybe this could just all be our one really good act for today, you know, that we would really go and just give him some love and compassion. So I really appreciate it, you guys. I love you so much. And maybe that will be the thing. Maybe every day I'll start, you know, figuring out a way for all of us together as a wolf pack to do something really kind and compassionate, you know. Maybe we can, every day on here, do something good for somebody else, you know, and pass it on. I think that would be a really nice way, you know, that we could do something with YouTube in a positive way. So, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for tolerating my crying ass. It probably won't change, so I'm a crier. I love you guys so much. I'm going to link his stuff below. Follow me on all my social media. You know I'm real interactive.